I once worked the front desk at a hotel right on the Florida shoreline. One late morning, a guest phoned the desk in full meltdown mode. He insisted there was some sort of massive noise generator blasting outside his room all night and that he hadn't slept at all. I assured him we didn't operate anything of the sort, but he kept yelling that the sound was constant and unacceptable. I went up to investigate. The man pointed at the balcony door like he had discovered evidence of a crime. I slid it open, and instantly the natural thunder of ocean waves filled the room. I told him, "Sir, that's just the Atlantic." He looked at me as if I personally designed the ocean purely to irritate him. Then he demanded, with full seriousness, "Well, shut it off." I paid for quiet. He genuinely believed we could disable the sea. A man checked in, stomped straight back downstairs moments later, and charged at the desk clutching his keycard like a murder weapon. His face was beet red as he shouted that he had paid for a room with a scenic view, only to discover that someone had bricked the window shut. I double-checked the reservation. His room absolutely had a window, so I accompanied him back up. He barged into the room first, marched to the wall, and triumphantly pointed at what he insisted was a stone wall covering the glass. I walked right past him, reached out, and pulled back the floor-to-ceiling blackout curtains that he hadn't realized were curtains. Sunlight exploded into the room. He didn't say anything after that. He just sat on the bed like he needed to rethink his whole worldview. A woman called the front desk sounding like she had seen the devil himself. According to her, her bathroom was haunted. Every time she entered, the lights flicked on, without her touching anything. And every time she stepped out, they switched off. Proof, in her mind, that a spirit was trailing her. I calmly explained that the lights were motion activated. She didn't buy it. She argued with me for several minutes, insisting that no normal technology could explain such supernatural precision. She even requested a priest. Eventually I sent maintenance to tape over the sensor so she could use the manual switch. She later left a review warning future guests that the building had paranormal activity. One afternoon a man approached the concierge desk holding the basic paper map we gave all visitors. He looked uneasy. He pointed at the bright red star that marked the hotel's location, the usual, "You are here," symbol, and in a worried whisper asked, "How does the map know where I'm standing? Is it tracking my phone?" I thought he was being sarcastic. He was not. I explained that it was a printed map and the star was permanently printed on it. It didn't move. It didn't track anything. It simply indicated where the hotel was located. He eyed it suspiciously, then tossed the harmless map into the trash, just in case. At a ski resort where I worked the night shift, a man stumbled in around 3 a.m., profoundly drunk, and demanded his room key. I asked for his ID. He didn't have it, but he slurred out his name. I searched every similar spelling in our system, nothing. He grew louder and angrier, insisting he absolutely had a room here. Then he slammed a key card onto the counter like it was proof. It was a Holiday Inn card. We were a Marriott. When I pointed that out, he immediately accused us of secretly swapping the signs on the buildings while he was out drinking, to mess with him. A man asked for a wake-up call at 7 a.m. I scheduled it, no issue. At 7:15 he came storming to the desk wearing pajamas in rage. He yelled that nobody woke him up. I pulled up the log. It clearly showed that he picked up the phone at exactly 7 o'clock. "That doesn't count," he shouted. "No one came into my room to physically wake me." He was genuinely under the impression that a hotel wake-up call involved a staff member entering his locked room, gently shaking him like a Victorian-era servant, and coaxing him to rise. During a fog-heavy week in San Francisco, a man demanded a full refund for all 3 nights of his stay. His reason? He couldn't see the Golden Gate Bridge from his room. Our website had photos where the bridge was clearly visible. He accused us of lying through photography. I tried to explain that weather is not within our control. He insisted the hotel should have giant industrial fans to blow fog away for premium-paying guests. He later disputed the entire stay with his credit card company. A family in one of our suites called. The mother outraged that the provided microwave had ruined their expensive leftovers. She said it spun, but the food stayed cold no matter what she did. Maintenance went up. When they returned, the tech could barely keep a straight face. The woman had placed the food on the turntable, closed the door, and then manually rotated the plate with her hand through the little hole at the top, thinking that's how you operated it. She never turned the microwave on, she just spun the dish like a hamster wheel. She thought she'd been given a manual microwave. A newlywed couple called reception in a panic, claiming that the man in the room next door was a creep. They said every time they peeked through the peephole on the connecting door, he was staring right back at them, copying their movements, mocking them. I went up to check. What they believed was a peephole was actually a full-length mirror mounted on the wardrobe door. They had been staring at their own reflection the entire time. The husband had become furious at himself. One guest marched to the desk to complain that the hotel pool's water was too wet. I assumed he meant too cold or maybe too chlorinated. No, he said the water was too heavy, and clung to his clothes after swimming. He insisted he had used pools where the water rolls right off. To this day I have no idea what kind of liquid he thinks he swam in elsewhere. Maybe he once fell into a vat of Teflon? He left a comment card saying we needed a drier pool. At a hotel in the UK, we had an American guest who was deeply offended by our electrical outlets. First he called maintenance because his American plug wouldn't fit. We brought him an adapter. That should have been the end of it. But no, a short time later, he phoned again, absolutely irate that his hairdryer wasn't blasting air fast enough. When maintenance returned, they discovered he was using a 110-volt US hair dryer in a country that supplies 240 volts. He had essentially cooked the poor device. Instead of admitting he'd destroyed it, he blamed the situation on lazy British electricity. According to him, American power comes out faster, which is why his dryer didn't work properly. He somehow concluded that more voltage equals slower electricity. The dryer was completely fried. A guest approached me asking what time the midnight buffet began. I told him we didn't serve food overnight. He frowned, pulled up our website on his phone, and pointed to the line reading, "Front desk open 24 hours." He interpreted that as, if a desk clerk is awake, there must be a feast available. I explained it simply meant that someone was present to check guests in or help with issues. Not to carve roast beef at 12:01 a.m. His disappointment was dramatic. He actually sighed and asked if I at least had any snacks in my pockets. In our ultra-modern hotel, some prankster stuck a realistic-looking sign inside the elevator claiming it was now voice-activated. For the next 10 minutes, I watched on the security feed as a businessman in a suit stood inside, shouting, "Lobby! Lobby!" at the control panel. He became increasingly offended each time nothing happened. Eventually he gave up, pressed the button manually, and stormed to the front desk furious that the voice recognition system didn't understand his accent. He insisted it was biased against him. I had to break the news. The elevator was 100% normal. Always had been. Buttons only. He looked genuinely betrayed. A woman came to the front desk with a remote control in her hand, looking flustered. She said she had been trying to call her son for nearly an hour, but the phone had the spongiest buttons she'd ever seen. She was holding the TV remote. Apparently she had been dialing numbers into the channel selector while lifting it to her ear like a phone. Meanwhile, she had piled her clothes on top of the actual landline, which she assumed was just a decorative antique. When I pointed to the real phone, she said, "Oh. I thought that was part of the room's old-fashioned theme." I work at a hotel located near an airport, not in it. A guest called me from the terminal yelling, "I'm sitting at my gate waiting for the room I booked. It still hasn't come." He genuinely believed an airport hotel meant you slept inside the airport building, or worse, that your room would somehow be located at the boarding gate. I told him he needed to take the shuttle to the actual hotel structure. Completely baffled, he said, "Well, that defeats the purpose of flying." A very wealthy-looking woman called down to complain about an unauthorized animal roaming our courtyard. She described it as hideous, huge, and making horrible noises. She threatened to sue if we didn't remove it. The animal was a life-sized bronze horse statue that had been in the same spot for 2 decades. She insisted she had seen it moving. We figured she mixed strong sleeping pills with a little too much wine. The statue remained perfectly still. A man asked for a wake-up call timed with the moment sunlight hit his bed. I asked if he had an approximate hour in mind. He became annoyed and said, "Just give me a room where the sun comes up at 9 a.m. I explained, as politely as possible, that the sun rises at the same time for everybody in that city, around 6:30 a.m. and we could not reposition the earth. He called me unhelpful and said he would simply keep the curtains closed until 9. Which, sure. A guest phoned the desk in a panic saying he was stuck in his room. He said the deadbolt was open, the handle was turning, and he still couldn't escape. I assumed a battery failure in the lock and grabbed the master key. When I arrived, I pushed the door open with zero resistance. The guest had been pulling on a clearly labeled push-to-exit door. A giant sign was right at eye level. He argued, "In my country, doors pull." Well, not this one. We had a strict no-smoking policy, but one evening a fire alarm blared from a guest's room. Firefighters arrived, and the room was full of smoke, ash, and cigarette butts. When we charged the $250 cleaning fee, the guest stormed down insisting he hadn't been smoking at all. He claimed he had been burning incense to cleanse the room's negative energy. The incense was Marlboro Reds. The pack was literally sticking out of his pocket while he defended himself. A woman phoned housekeeping screaming that someone had stolen her car from the front entrance. She was seconds from calling the police. I asked if she had handed her keys to the man in the red vest when she arrived. She said, yes, but only because he offered to hold them for me. That man was the valet. Her car was safely in our parking garage the entire time. She seemed offended that the valet took initiative.